Hey friends, Kevin here. If you look way back through yonder, you'll see the big white van. I am still at Land Between the Lakes. I intended on being here for about 2 days, and I think I've been here for 12. I am pulling out of here probably in the next 24 hours to continue this trip. And from there, I am going on over 60 miles or so to the Mississippi River, and then I will decide which way I'm going to go. I've thought about going north and actually doing some more winter camping. I've thought about going into Missouri because I really don't know much about Missouri other than the military base there. And I've thought about looping south and coming down through Mississippi and back into Alabama and spending some time in there, maybe Georgia, and letting that be this trip. So I guess you'll know when I know, because I still haven't completely decided yet. But with that little update out of the way, for those who care, we'll get on to today's topic. So today's topic is going to be depression and why so many people out here that are attracted more or less to this lifestyle, doing this for long periods of time or even full time. A whole lot of people that you run across seem to have some depression issues. I probably have some of my own. For me, they seem to pretty much alleviate themselves out here, so I understand why a lot of people are, in fact, attracted to this. It gives them calm, it gives them peace, it gives them a little more structure in a contained environment than, you know, maybe when they're in a home, a real house. But one thing you need to know is wherever you go, pretty much anywhere in this country, you're going to run into people who have depression issues, and you're going to run into people who have various forms of mental illnesses that are out here. And if it helps them out, I think that's great. If you don't want to interact with those people, I guess that's your choice. It doesn't bother me one bit either way. If people are nice, I'm good with it. If they're a little bit odd, I'm still good with it, if they're not dangerous. So everybody's on their own journey through this world, and when we get structured in a normal life, I think a lot of times we tend to look down on those people and those parts of society. And I can tell you, I am 100% guilty of having been that way. But when you get out here for a while, a lot of that will kind of melt away, go away, and it's a lot more live and let live when you get yourself separated a little bit from the rat race. And if there's something I'm probably envious of looking back on life, I'm probably envious of those people that went out and did this every year, that did a lot of camping and did a lot of things like this out in nature, even if it was for 1 or 2 weeks a year during their vacations, because I was usually gallivanting off doing other things, in those big city, more expensive touristy crap things, the times that I did take a vacation. So I went a lot of years that I really wasn't out here connecting with nature at all. And looking back, I think if I had, I think it would have helped my mindset a whole lot. I think it would have helped periods of depression or sadness a whole lot if I had been out here from time to time. So the point I'm getting at, for you guys that are thinking about doing different things on the road, you have so many of these people, especially on YouTube, that are trying to shove this, sell your house, give everything away, let your apartment lease go, jump in the nearest vehicle and take off and live this lifestyle, which is way more complicated than that, and way more issues that's going to cause if you haven't planned that out a little bit. And that is not going to help with stress or depression, to get out in the middle of nowhere and be broke and breaking down in vehicles and all of those things that happen. But at the same time, I do see the appeal to it. I do see the draw to it. And you can make those changes in your life and spend more and more and more time in nature. Doesn't necessarily have to be 2,000 miles away from where you live. You have places you've probably never explored within 50 miles or 100 miles of you. Nice places, nice parks, nice camping areas. It becomes a little more of a challenge when you're doing it on a budget to find the free or lower cost places, so you're not paying 30 or 40 bucks a night. But it can be done, as this little trip here proves so far. But I had 4 or 5 months before this trip started that just, I was not happy with the way a lot of things were going work-wise. Another job project I took on and it's come out of nowhere and I had to handle, and I just never could relax during any of that time. And I am way more relaxed probably by the 3rd day out here. I was way more relaxed than I was ever able to be at any point in those last 4 or 5 months. Even the little day here, day there, a few day here camping trip things I was doing just didn't cut it. And before this trip started, I had 4 or 5 months that things weren't, I didn't like the way things were going business-wise, job-wise. I ended up taking on a project that came out of nowhere and accelerated, and I had to take on for this couple-month project. I wasn't happy with it. And even when I get away for a few days here and there, it just really didn't help me as far as relaxing or dealing with the stress or dealing with the depression or whatever it was. But on this trip, by about the 3rd day out here, I was fine. All that just seemed to melt away. I didn't really understand why people that had depression issues or certain mental issues seem to be happier out here in some form, out in nature, and they say it heals them and helps them. But I'm actually starting to understand that now, why they would rather be out here rather than go back necessarily to that structured, stress-filled real world that the majority of us live in. So those of you that have been out on the road, have you run across people that have depression problems, various mental illnesses? You know, what has been your interactions with those people? Because all of mine have been positive. They've been fine. You know, there's probably people that think I'm an odd duck. So, you know, when I meet somebody that's a little bit of an odd duck, it doesn't bother me a bit. If they kind of need to be left alone, I leave them alone. If they kind of need somebody to interact with, I'm happy to befriend them. You know, but how do you handle those things? How do you handle those people when you meet them? I'd love to hear kind of what you think down below. Next video, I'm kind of going to do a running log, I think, of this trip as far as expenses, as far as what it's costing me to be out here so far, to give you an ideal of, you know, if you're going out for a month or 2 or 3 or what have you at a time. There's a lot of variables, but there's going to be a lot of constants also. So hopefully doing that will help you out in your planning, what you may need to budget to go out on the road. I think we'll let that be the next video, or one that's going to be posting soon, and we'll see you next time.